Boom, just do it. So I've been watching everybody react to Velma, and this is of course for everybody who watches this channel. You know, I have this fixation on something I called hashtag die art die. Ever since give me 1 second. There we go, I like that. Yeah, a little bit brighter. Ever since I encountered kind of no, solidly millennial, kind of a world of millennial art people. I kept seeing just these works that I was like, okay, I get it, but then there was other stuff I'm just like, okay, no, that's this isn't good. Um, but then I was, oh, okay, but it was the music and fashion is what really hit me, that I was like, no, because I was hearing bands started by millennials, seeing millennials in Fred Perry's and Ben Sherman's looking right and tight. Um, the girls in Fred Perry tennis dresses and shit, like looking right and tight. And then there would be just these, the Doc Martin, somehow finding Doc Martin baby dolls, so the socks match the lines on the Fred. And I'm like, you get it. You get it. Then there's some who their whole style was kind of a southwestern. You saw a lot of that. Girls who'd be into cowboy boots and stets, and but if they rocked it right, it was beautiful. It looked good, and overall, though, I mean, what you were seeing from pop music, and that was the Lady Gaga. You were seeing this embrace of what was fundamentally just ugly and shitty. It sounded like shit, and it looked ugly. And more and more and more, this became this fixation because of the very symmetrical, the solid colors, a lot of the way that 90s, quintessential 90s style was, from the point of view of the millennials. From the point of view of the millennials. So just having two totally different patterns, like plaid this and some paint splotch top thing, just looking like, you dressed in the dark. That was the new hype shit, And I was like, okay, now if you do it well, this is no problem. And then if you end up being a generation that you create all kinds of awesome shit and you're really kind of cool, but they didn't. That's the thing. The millennials ended up, unfortunately, with the best that came out of the millennials was their end of retro, some of their rock and roll. There's like this hint of a few hip hop artists, but I mean it was mostly the stuff that was electronic was the biggest kind of thing, and then memes. They're the generation that crushed it on memes. There's other things, I'm sure there's people who will bring up, like, oh, no, this would have been, if by definition, millennials would have been a part of this, and but even a lot of millennials have kind of brought up to me, like, they're like, I don't know why. Like, everybody looks like shit. I don't get it. I don't get why everyone, and so in a liberal enclave, like a quintessential liberal enclave of America, like the millennials very quickly started to show this sign of like, oh, you don't plan to age well. You don't, something's funny about the way you guys are thinking about things. Like something funny is going on here. Now with Gen Z, they're going to have a tough road to hoe. So one of the things I started to see with that Velma is now the pinnacle. It has become this penultimate, I believe, is the term, example. Like it and Guy Ladriel, I think, Rings of Power, Velma, and She-Hulk are where, like, kind of three sides. There's probably a fourth side of the pyramid. If you want to drop that in the comments, the fourth side of the pyramid, you can. That might be Wakanda Forever. Even though, so people are like, no, no, no. Of the movies this year, Wakanda Forever was dope. But when it comes down to it, there's like, there's like this long list of things people brought up that they're like, did they not realize what that looks like? Do they not realize what, why are there huts in this advanced city? Do they not realize, So Africans never live in something that is not without a shanty town, Where there are Africans, there are shanty towns, By the way, I wanted to bring this up. Black people don't live in ghettos anywhere. There are no black Americans who live in that which is definitively a ghetto. Ghettos were walled. You couldn't leave them. One of the most important things about black neighborhoods, typically, is that at some point, because they almost inevitably become run down, as almost all neighborhoods go through cycles of running down. But in particular, this is something of black America over the last century. You want the black people to leave so that the neighborhood can be improved. People might want to call it gentrification, but when you live in a city, it's called the neighborhood has come back to life. Because neighborhoods where everyone's afraid they're going to be shot at random, like, it's weird. It's weird to walk through places like that. You walk with your homie late at night from your friend's house, and this motherfucker's like dead, just lying there. This is like, there's windows everywhere. There's 4 stories of windows. Everyone must have heard whatever happened to this man. And there ain't nobody around. Choose a path book. What do? A, you walk really fast from there. Because you don't know what just killed this man. You don't even know if he's dead. You and your homie don't want to know. B, and liberals like that. Liberals like that shit. They think that's exciting. There's a part of me that I have to laugh about it because it was my upbringing. It was unfortunately the world I lived in. You don't look at humans the same. You just don't feel the same about things. Other people, you could see it. You could see they're feeling something in a moment, and you don't feel that because you're always looking for every sign of ugly and shadow and gloom. You're always looking for the gloom. You're always looking for threats. Yeah. You're never off. When you finally feel joy, you never forget it. Liberals don't get this about taking that from children. They like it. They like doing this. They like taking the joy from the children. They like it. These women, especially these school teachers who are perverting little kids, they like seeing the innocents die. They do. There's something wrong with them. Because they're smart, paranoid mutants. And that's the issue with Velma. There's a whole bunch of gender sexuals that, and art people that are very uncomfortable with themselves. This shit style art, now we're hearing what's really happening. What just happened with Marvel? We're not animating your shit, assholes. They can't get CG people. So what's really going on? Because if you look online, everyone knows, they don't want to admit, the world of computer graphics from what are obviously Western nations is very, very ripe with tremendous talent that has way too much time on its hands, so to speak. Like, I don't think this is a fan film. But then with Star Wars, the sheer amount of fan films, that what you see with the CG work, I could barely dip into all the stuff. I mean, just the CG work that you're starting to see done with the various EVE Online lore videos, that the present lore, that as they do it like news reports. Brilliant. Fantastic work. There's what we're coming to is a type of revolution. VR is not, it's not a thing. They're not doing it right. What VR has to be is wildly abstract. And it has to be a wildly abstract way that you could fundamentally arrange interfaces, like the thing from that Cruise movie. That's what it's supposed to be. The VR is the ultimate informational interface kind of thing. So Microsoft with its interface, its experiments that they're doing right now, interfaces. That's where I think that's going to pan out. There's all these forms of art. There's all the technical knowledge and all these things that it's working itself out right now, because there's just too many platforms. There's too many. But also we're finding out with all these people losing their jobs, and like the channel Reinvestor Properties or something like that, or consultation. They were able to look up, and they were like, yeah, all these companies that are doing all this IT stuff and development of products and platforms and things like that, most of them are still on VC money. Most of them are running on venture capital. They're not producing, they're not providing services, they're not doing anything. Things like the Microsoft Genomics project is a great example of something that obviously is riding on American taxpayer as venture capital, and because what it is that Microsoft has to corner the market on having a library of civilian citizens' DNA, so that they could start figuring stuff out for various forms of medicine, future medicine. Because really, you literally could have a few devices that you could plug into a phone right now, and like I'm not even kidding. Like, there's stuff that it would analyze your spit. You could take a picture of your eye, blow into something. I think there's something where all it would do is it's just a light that would shine on your finger, and it would read enough information about your. There's like a few spots on your body that you would just put a device, a small passive. I mean, really a very passive normal item that I think uses ultraviolet light, and that it literally would read how well your blood is running through your body and your lymph and stuff like that. And from there, there would be more specialized tests, but with those, that would be about 90% of your health. Completely passive. Could be done with your cell phone. Like, this is not, this kind of technology absolutely is sort of, but it's how do you do this and kind of monetize it and stuff like that. So now with animation, streaming, all this, everything's coming to its confluence. We're at another fascinating point of the confluence of things. And Velma is this amazing, Velma and a few other movies, like I was saying, and shows, She-Hulk and fucking Rings of Power, are fantastic examples of how there's just no rapport anymore. The artist class are like these bourgeois assholes who just are wildly separate of just kind of normal culture. And that people who are gender sexuals, especially the women who are in the arts, and this is the horrible thing about the poltroons and eunuchs. You know, it's a big part of what's going on with this is these are ugly people. I hate to be that. It's fucked up. I mean, but it is what it is. A lot of these people are kind of just uglier, and they get into these niche things. I'm a gender sexual. Look, I'm wearing a dress. I'm a poltroon. You know, oh, I'm going the whole way, and I'm taking drugs, and I'm gonna get surgeries because I'll become a high Mandarin eunuch, and everyone will have to come to me for judgment, and I'll be like, guilty, innocent, guilty, innocent. I'll be on RuPaul's Eunuch Poltroon Review. Here come the judge. Here come the judge. It's the judge. It's the judge. Oh my God. If anyone wants to know, it's called Here Comes the Judge. It's it's an old song. It's funny. It's a funny old tune. It comes out of black humor, musical kind of stuff, and there's a tradition of vulgar black poetry, and there's not many ones that I know about, but there's certain things you could tell kind of comes out of that, and it's a tradition from hooping, and hooping is keep hooping, Black America, keep hooping, Black Christians, keep hooping, don't stop hooping. Whatever that is, those people keep it real, so you know it's keep hooping. So see, I know about that, and I don't go to black church. I know Joe Biden doesn't know about that. I know Kamala Harris does know shit about hooping. You know, I bet somebody like Joy Reid, she wouldn't be seen like in a place where people are hooping. She would be like feeling all awkward. Like, I'm Joy Reid. I don't hang out with people like this. You know. And so people, Velma and these various, I think really it is that these are people that have just no connection at all with anything that's really, really culture. A lot of you watch this, you'll probably remember when John Woo was the shit. Like, you knew who John Woo was, and then John Woo did some American action films. Like, you already knew about Hard Boiled. You already knew about King of Gamblers, or God of Gamblers. I'm sorry, God of Gamblers. You already knew about all this, and Chow Yun Fat, you know, and the 180-degree Chow Yun Fat Glock turn, you know. You knew about that shit, and so you were the real thing, like, and you're the audience. They have to have a rapport with that, and just not many people are able to do that. And they need, I think that there's a lot of these artists that they want to do films that are totally something else, because that's the kind of rapport they have, like A Death in the Family, you know, movies that mostly women want to see. I think really that's really what we're seeing. A bunch of people who should be making women's movies about subjects that women would be interested in, something that you end up crying a lot about. Blubbing. a blubbing movie, you know, a blubbing flick. You know, oh my God, and he loves her forever, and so he throws himself in the fire, you know. Dude, you're sitting there like, what the fuck? Fuck this bitch, you know? Fuck this bitch. What, you, nigga, you threw yourself in the fire for that bitch? What the fuck? You know, what the hell? Boy, you crazy. It was never gonna even be that good, son. You know, you know. So Velma ends up being where these people are able to kind of take revenge on society. They never understood why people liked Scooby-Doo. And it was because Scooby-Doo was goofy. We, like, when we were adults in the 90s, when we you know, it's 93, I'm 18, like, we're sitting there, we're like, you know, this is a strange cartoon now that I watch it again. That's what happened. There was a bunch of these. That's why there was all, like, fucking Space Ghost and all those, and Johnny Quest and all these things that were like some of them were like, this is adorably wonderful. Like, Johnny Quest was kind of adorably wonderful. It was just so out there. It was just so wonderfully, like, 50s conceptualization of sci-fi, and then it kept going, and so, but you wouldn't know that unless you were there and you knew why it had an odd popularity. See, Dario was something that worked at the time. Now there's kind of the endless numbers of Darios, like how so many female musicians fundamentally bit Bjork, but they don't want to admit it, and that there's all these women who they kind of have an issue. They hear Bjork and they're all, oh my God, and then they turn something on, it's the same shit, but not done as well. And that, yeah, and so there's just this, there's something, so, you know, tastes are tastes. But then there's something that has happened with artists over about the last generation, that a lot of them, whatever really they want to do, because nobody will pay for it, or be very hard to sell, or find another group, or find a group of artists that you can make this an opus, a true, you know, great work of American cinema or whatever. Because they can't find that, they end up getting on these projects, and then they're like, okay, so fuck these people for watching this, and that it's like fried chicken. When Fried Chicken Man's not having a good day, the last thing, you know, it's like that Fried Chicken Man it's just not, you know. No, we're closing early because we're short of staff. We don't have this on the hotline right now. It seems like it's never there. Well, I mean, usually I put it on. I mean, and I'm like sitting there, I'm like, what are you talking about? I put this on. This is on the hotline every fucking night I'm here. Like, what are you talking about? Like, because I eat that. But then I'm like, fuck these people. But then I have to remember, it's like, no. I don't know when the audience was here for the show. So, and then I'm not always here. So I don't know what this person might have come here days I wasn't there. This thing wasn't on the hotline, So, but I have to, and then it's that thing, you're kind of, God, fuck you people, and I figure every business has to be like this. It took me a while, really, to kind of deal with, like, when finally I had to embrace the first stages of the red pill very, very, very long time ago, but I didn't know that was what was happening. That I finally had to accept, like, no, you don't really want to, you don't want to help people in this way. You want to help people in a way that there is a degree of separation. That's really how you want to help people. Really. Like, now that you understand people better, now you understand yourself better. That's really what you want. You want a distance between people. There's a lot of people who I think when they're liberals, they can't really deal with that you might be bilitic, you might be splenic, you might be just, it's the way that you have tendencies to, the way your personality is, that you just have to start to really deal with it. And really, as the Delphic Oracle states, know thyself. So you should know thyself so that you could better understand, well, exactly how then am I seeing the world around me. And that was one of the greatest changes on the right wing that happened over the last decade or so, is that the concentration on, well, no, first know thyself. Who really are you and where are you coming from? And then when you're looking at something, what angle are you coming at it from? Because you might not have knowledge of the phenomena from a different origin point of the point of view. One who's a Baptist looking at the Orthodox compared to the Orthodox looking at another group of Orthodox, Serbian looking at Greek. The Baptist looking at the Greek it would be far more strange to them. While the Serbian would be like, oh, okay, now these are similarities and this, and they would have an entirely different point of view. Both Orthodox looking at the Baptist would be like, where are you getting these ideas? Where'd you get that from? Why do you do that? There is really something that I'm loving about Die Art Die, that the kind of artistic class, they really truly are these people that tend to be unhappy people who despise American culture. They just don't really like American culture. Now there's good reason at present to not like American culture. You look at Americans and you're kind of disgusted. You look at a group of them and you're like, you look like shit. You people look like fucking shit. I mean, Aaron Clary's brought it up. A bunch of people brought it up, but it's just one of those things. And now I think there's more of an honest kind of thing with, a lot of the gender sexuals and stuff like that. They're pretty much sevens at best. Like there's some of these men are kind of like models, but for the most part they're sevens at best. So it's understandable that when they make these works of art that they just kind of take it out on society because of just how on the outside and how odd, and then there's the issue of how many of them, I mean, Stonewall was a riot. It was a riot at a place where there was gay orgies, drugs, gay orgies, and it was protected by the mob. And these are people, a community of people. With the women, you end up having all these women who are severely overweight to the point where the government has had to look into like why is this group of women so absurdly overweight. And then it got into but we don't study why do gay men take so many drugs, and why do they insist on spreading AIDS? Like, they know they shouldn't, but they spread the AIDS, and they take the drugs and spread the AIDS at these orgies. Why do they do that? We don't ask this question because it's so very there's there's a number of reasons. So this is really something that I think we're finally starting to have the beauty of this, where yes, once anybody starts kind of doubting things, it's now become this where everyone's just sitting back and is just like, no, 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 no. You're doing that thing that you people do. And they're like, what do you mean us people? What do you mean the thing us people do? And said, what do you mean never mind. Never mind. That's what's going on the internet. Oh, you people shouldn't talk like that. That's not nice. That's so mean to the gender sexual people. And it's just like, yeah, and the Jewish people too. Yeah, yeah. Sarah Silverman's Christmas special. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And and so, I'm kind of enjoying this. I'm kind of enjoying the chaos. I'm definitely enjoying the COVID chaos. I am just so much Skeletor. I was so right. So correct. I'm smarter than Neil deGrasse Tyson. I didn't get chumped out like Scott. I mean, it's just, he got chumped out. That's what it was. It's nothing more than that. It did require certain knowledge, but also don't be a chump. And he got chumped out. And so, yeah, smarter than Neil deGrasse Tyson. I love that. So, all right. That was pretty much it. Think about something maybe talk about tomorrow night.